a song.
Are we live? How are we looking?
Oh, we're live. Enjoy live TV.
What the hell was that?
It's a little commercial right there. No big deal. All right, well, we'll wrap it up right there. We will wrap
I wondered how long that was going to go for. That intro was longer than I thought.
You know, I mean, at this point, I think people are ready to hear that song play on repeat after
you can play it all night long. I'm even ready to hear Mr. Brightside tonight. I'm ready for it. Bring it on. Bring it on.
Wow, dude. 42-27, a physical dominating ass whooping of the Buckeyes put on by Michigan today. I tweeted it out as soon as things were about to go final. I had my story ready to go. Me and you are up there like I'm wrong. I'm wrong as hell and super pumped about it. I've never been more excited to be wrong in my life. We are already starting to look at our plans for Indy. We are already starting to have the playoff discussion. It was one of the coolest things I've ever watched in person in my life.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously, we hoped that Michigan would put up a fight and that it would be a close game and they would look like they belonged on the field, and they just bullied the Buckeyes all afternoon. I mean, even the most optimistic fans or analysts, I don't think saw that type of game coming from the Michigan Wolverines and that type of game coming from the Ohio State Buckeyes. But, give Michigan credit. Aiden Hutchinson, there's a lot that you can talk about from this game. I don't want to go into the specifics about what Aiden Hutchinson did on the field, but we were in the press conference afterwards. You watch him walk into that room and it's written all over his face, his body. He's got cuts everywhere. He's got gashes everywhere. He's got the eye paint sort of smudged, and he's got a big smirk on his face. And it's like this sense of relief and accomplishment. And I feel like the players feel it, the coaches feel it. I feel like even the fans feel it. There's like a collective exhale. Like, we did it. The narrative now can change. Maybe things will be a little bit different. And now we got a plan for Indy.
That's a nice thing to be able to do. It's something that we talked about. We talked about like, oh man, dude, like depending how the game goes today, we really could be starting to make plans for Indianapolis, for Dallas, for Miami, one of these locations for the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl. And that's incredible. I mean, like, you just said it before we went live. You predicted 9-3 and it wasn't enough. And I was giving you the slurp sound all season. And, a lot of people saw 7-5, 8-4, maybe 9-3. I don't know if I saw anybody realistically say 10 or more wins. I don't know if I remember.
I don't know that you could say it realistically.
Yeah. And now they're, dude, we just said it when we were walking back from the press conference. Like, they're freaking 11-1, dude.
Yeah.
11-1, just beat down Ohio State. And now they're getting ready to play in Indianapolis against either Wisconsin or Iowa. Incredible season.
And it goes back to, when we talked about how we envisioned this game going leading up to it. I said the same. I found myself saying the same thing about this team week after week, that the mental makeup is different. You could sense it, that there's a camaraderie, a closeness, whatever it is. You could sense that mentally things were different. And it felt like maybe that was what was holding Michigan back all those years, because they were recruiting talent. They had tremendous athletes all over the field, but they looked like they didn't belong on the field with the likes of Ohio State or the Bamas or teams like that. I don't know if it's the leadership, the core. I know Harbaugh referenced a specific 8 players during the press conference that what he calls them the foundation, or the ones. He refers to them as this core group. The Hutchinsons, Ronnie Bell, Ross, those guys that have really. His analogy was perfect. Jim Harbaugh said this train was going down the tracks one way, and this group of guys picked up the train, turned it around, and started pushing it the other way down the track. And it really feels like that's what happened. We knew it was going to take a championship effort, a collective team effort to get it done today. And boy, oh boy, was it ever. I mean, that was a total team effort.
So people are already asking Louis Miller from the Facebook page. So Brandon's now skipping his Thanksgiving holiday and going to party.
Yes,
I am.
Yes.
I actually am doing that, but it's really more because of what you see.
Inclement weather has. Listen, don't give Brandon too much credit for wanting to be a party boy. The snow has really played a huge factor in that.
Yeah, I mean it's oh, we got to get. No, you're good. You're good, Kurt. We're just doing a live stream. Kurt busted on Chris. Everyone's like, "Whoa, what's happening?" Yeah, the weather, man. I mean, it's going to be obviously. It's dark out. It's ice. It's snow. It's sleet. There's some bad weather over in Kalamazoo, over near Chicago. So I'm going to get up early in the morning and head out. But that means I can hang out in Ann Arbor a little bit tonight, see what's going on out there. The traffic is still, I mean, it's gridlocked out there. There's cars. Obviously, everybody was here till the end. And just an incredible environment all the way through. Aiden Hutchinson said tonight that's the loudest he's ever heard the Big House. He said it was an absolutely perfect atmosphere. The snow, it was surreal, man. It was picturesque. And
as soon as that snow started to roll in before the game started, we felt like maybe that was a bit of a game changer, because it changed, I think, what Ohio State wanted to do. It changed how effective C.J. Stroud could be through the air. I think, look, take nothing away from Michigan, but I'm certainly not upset that the snow flurry started to kick in as that game was starting off, because I think that suited Michigan's style of play, and it played out that way.
So I don't think that the player of the game is an automatic gimme, but I think it's got to be Hassan Haskins.
Well, yeah, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, in terms of what he's done but even still, man, like, you watch him all game. How many times was he held? How many times?
Well, every play. How many snaps did he play?
Time. And he still got 3. They could not stop him. Even they were holding him, pulling him, yanking. There was nothing they could do to keep him from getting in the backfield. But you're right. I mean, when Hassan Haskins comes out and runs for 5 touchdowns against the Buckeyes, and I think, based on what Jim Harbaugh said, he's pretty damn close to setting the single season Michigan rushing record. And that sort of came out of nowhere. I mean, the first 3 weeks, everybody was looking at Blake Corum like the guy. And now here's Hassan Haskins on the verge of making history. It's just, it all came together at the right time, at the perfect time. And that hasn't happened for a very long time here in Ann Arbor. So look, I'm tripping over my words. I'm excited. I'm ready to get crunk. I'm ready to drink.
28 carries, 169 yards, 5 freaking touchdowns for Hassan.
That's a man's day.
That's a man's day. And then Aiden with the 3 sacks to pass his dad, who had 11 when he was at Michigan, past the all-time record, which was 12. And Ojabo still has a chance to get there as well. He got another sack today. I think he's at 11. And now with the Big Ten title game, and then potentially another 1 or 2 after that, still could see both of those guys break that sack record. But Aiden did it today with just an incredible effort. I mean, he was literally affecting every single play. That's not hyperbole. That's not like, just making it sound like he was really good and better than he was. He was making those tackles wish that they weren't there on every single play. And got home 3 times and really kind of moved C.J. Stroud off the spot, both him and Ojabo. I mean, it was you could see, man, it was such a team effort. It was like Ojabo would win with speed and get back there so fast that Stroud would have to kind of run up and step up, and there was Hutchinson coming on the inside, beating his tackle over and over.
It was exactly what we talked about had to happen, that Michigan had to get an early lead, and that the edge rushers had to get to Stroud. And if they could do that early and take control of the game early, it would bode well for the remainder of the game. And that's exactly what happened. It sounds crazy to say this. Ohio State was never in control of that game, ever.
Not once.
Not one time was Ohio State in control of that game. And you go back and you look at 2018 and 2019 and what likely would have happened in 2020, and fast forward to this year and how good that team was. The general consensus about Ohio State is that it was either Georgia or Ohio State as a number one team in the country. They were gelling at the right time, and Michigan just beat the shit out of them. And so I don't know what that's going to mean for the rest of the year, but the fact that the Wolverines just flat out bullied those guys for the entire afternoon, that is the type of win that can set your program on a trajectory that it wouldn't have otherwise been on. And I think Harbaugh alluded to that in the press conference. He said that this is just the beginning. And it was almost like a metaphorical, he kind of feels like he's got it now. He's figured it out, and now let's roll. We'll see what happens. But man, this one, it feels surreal. I don't even believe it.
It couldn't have gone any better. And I see quite a few people in the comments mentioning Josh Gaddis called an incredible game today and was slightly fired up about the win at the end. So in the press box, just for people who've never seen it before, there's obviously a very, very large media section, but the coaches in the OC and Grant Newsome and Ron Bellamy and some of the coaches are like just on the other side of the glass. Like they're right there. And as soon as Ohio State turned the ball over on downs, and I think there was 59 seconds to go or whatever it was that Michigan was just going to take a couple knees and win the game, you heard pounding on the tables, on the walls, yelling, screaming. The coaches come running down the press, down behind press row. Let's fucking go. I mean, just at the top of their lungs, like screaming at the top of their lungs. They all pile into the elevator so they can get down to the field and run out there. Obviously, the fans are out on the field. You saw Jim Harbaugh and all the players out there just getting mauled. It was quite a spectacle, man. The snow it was picturesque, man.
Magical.
It was perfect. It was, dude. It really was. And now you look ahead. And they Jim Harbaugh talked about this. Cade McNamara talked about this. Like they're going to celebrate through the rest of Saturday. You got, it feels late, but it's only 5:30. They got all night to have fun and party it up and really celebrate that massive, massive win. And then tomorrow morning, they said they're going to flip over and turn to whoever it is, whether it's Wisconsin or Iowa. So let's talk about that for a quick minute, and then we'll start packing up and get out of here. A rematch with Wisconsin or a face-off against Iowa, both tough teams in the West, both of them playing better now than they were at the beginning of the season. Who would you like to see Michigan play in that one? Is there a right answer here?
Well, I don't like the idea of playing Wisconsin twice. I mean, there might be some people that look at that game and say, well, Michigan won the first time. It stands to reason that Michigan can beat them again. I just don't like the idea of playing the same team twice. I think that gives them an opportunity to sort of make up for what happened before, come in highly motivated. But I don't want to sound cocky when I say this, because I don't mean it that way. I don't think it matters who comes out of the West. I watched a Michigan Wolverine team beat the shit out of the number 2 team in the country comfortably. It wasn't even much of a game. I mean, I know they got it to within one score, but even when it was within one score, you never felt like the Ohio State defense could stop what Michigan was trying to do offensively. So you look at the West, whether it's Wisconsin or Iowa, I don't think it matters. I think this Michigan team is rolling. I think they're playing football on another level. And I think a little over a week from now, we better start making playoff plans.
It's all season long with one hiccup in East Lansing, but all season long, the things that Michigan is good at travel. Defense travels, running the ball travels, being physical travels, taking care of the ball. Those things are typically there for teams that do that very well. I mean, they, like today, I mean, CJ Stroud threw for quite a few yards, I feel like. He had 394 yards. I mean, he wasn't shut down necessarily, but they felt affected being in the weather, being in the cold, being in the wind, being on the road, being under pressure. I mean, you can't really put pressure on a team like Michigan when they want to run the ball with Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum. Yes, teams can sell out to try to stop the run, and we've seen that a little bit. But I just really think that what Michigan does well is going to be there next week. It's going to be there beyond. And, they were able to beat a really good Ohio State team handily without a problem, without much resistance, up and down the field. They just did whatever they wanted. I was trying to look at this. Brad Robbins punted twice the whole day. Jake Moody, the sledgehammer. I don't have my soundboard. He did not kick a field goal today. Michigan was efficient. They got what they wanted, and they did it against one of the best, hottest teams in the country. And, dude, nobody wants to play this Michigan team because they lean on you. They wear on you. They get what they want.
You want to try to deal with this on Haskins?
Nope. I mean, nobody does. Nobody wants to deal with that for 4 quarters, man. Nobody wants that. And so I think I'm with you. I like Michigan. I don't care if it's Iowa or Wisconsin. It is hard to beat a good team twice, and Wisconsin's better now than they were when Michigan beat them in Madison.
Yeah.
And Iowa's just Iowa. Like, you hate playing them. So right. either team is going to be a test, but they're not as good as Ohio State, and Michigan beat their ass. I mean, there's no other way to explain what we just watched and what we saw. So I'm with you. I feel good about whoever it is. And Michigan certainly will too. They feel.
Can you pause yourself and just think about what you just said? We've got Michigan in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just think about how improbable that is, how crazy it is. Again, it hasn't set in for me yet, but the fact that Brandon Brown, notorious Michigan hater, is sitting here talking about playoff bound, man, what a night, what an evening this is going to be.
I've said it many, many, many times. Brandon Brown is not a Michigan hater. Brandon Brown was a damaged man. That's what
For anybody, I can tell you this. For anybody who questions Brandon Brown's fandom, I sat with him. I sat next to him in the press box. His emotions were all over the place. This guy wanted a win. So,
Oh, I mean, and dude, once it gets to the point where I'm firing up. I'm a shit talker, man. I can go at some people, and once it gets to that point, I have a hard time keeping it bottled up. And I started firing off some tweets, and I'm like, look at these sad ass fans out here in the scarlet and gray, not moving, not saying anything, looking around sad. I love it. I mean, I love it. I love it more than anything. And so, It really is just a culmination of wanting more out of the program, wanting days like this, and wanting a trip at the end of the season to Indy and to see some success going into the off season rather than failures. And that's really where the frustration always has stemmed from. And so,
and I will say, I just saw the question pop up from Adam Smock. How do you feel about Harbaugh now is all forgiven? I don't know where you stand on this, but I'm sticking true to what I said. For me, the slate has been wiped clean. That's how meaningful this win is to me, just from an individual standpoint as a fan. Been waiting a long, long time for this to happen. And the fact that it happened this year, my first year covering it, we're going to make plans to go to Indy. It's looking like the college football playoff is on the table. This is why Jim Harbaugh was brought to Michigan. And unfortunately, it took 7 years to see the fruits of that labor, but it's here. And now that it's here, man, I'll gladly take it. I hate that we had to wait this long, but we did it. They did it.
I think I said initially that it wouldn't be wiped clean, but it kind of feels like it is. It kind of feels like it is because there's so many things that you used to be able to say that you just can't say anymore. And that's so valuable. That's so valuable that, 1-5 is not good, but there's a 1 over there and it's the most recent one. And now you know that you can do it. It's like before I was like, we're 7 years in, man. We know what we're getting. And now all the possibilities are opened up. You know that Jim Harbaugh and Michigan can get over that hump. You know that they can get to Indy. You know that they're going to play for a Big Ten title. And I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win a Big Ten title.
And Joseph McLean, I think that's how you say his name, Joseph McLean. That's a perfect, think about what this does from a recruiting standpoint. This is how you begin to change a program. You've got high-profile recruits that come into Michigan Stadium and watch the Wolverines beat the shit out of the Buckeyes, and you're thinking, man, the crowd was lit. They look like they got a good offense. They were electric. I mean, this doesn't just. It's more than just a win. And I think that's why it's so big and so meaningful to me, because all of the narratives, all of the storylines, all the bullshit that we talk about repeatedly during every single offseason, we don't have to talk about it anymore because they got over that hump. So now it's a different equation. It's a different conversation.
As a person who used to cover recruiting exclusively, this is the first time for the Ohio State game, where they've loaded that thing up with visitors and official visits and big time 5-stars that want to come in, and didn't see Michigan get trucked on their home field. So it's huge. It's absolutely massive, because now Michigan's probably going to be number 2 or number 3 in the country. They're going to play for a Big Ten title. I expect them to win, and they're going to play in the freaking playoff in a month. And that's,
and you know what else is great, Brandon? I never have to hear again how Michigan can't compete with the likes of Ohio State and Alabama because of academics. Never have to hear that again, because this Michigan team, with all of the academic standards they have, beat the shit out of that Buckeye team. So we cannot use that excuse anymore. And I think that's why guys like us have been frustrated, because we believe they were capable of it. We believe they should be competing at a championship level. And we didn't want to change our expectation to sort of, well, we just hope we can compete with Ohio State. That's not what Michigan is. The goalpost is what they did today. Jim Harbaugh, for the first time since he's been in Ann Arbor, reached the goalpost. Now, to me, anything beyond this is gravy and butter, and I'll take it. But he got it done.
So obviously, this win and this development is incredible for the program. The momentum that it gives them heading into the offseason, the list of things you can't say about Jim Harbaugh and Michigan anymore is I mean, dude, they just checked so many boxes today that used to be such a detriment to what his tenure was about, and now you can't go there anymore. On the flip side of that, though, now those apologists that there's, like you just said, there's things you can't say anymore to try to defend. Oh, the academics, Michigan has to do this. Oh, it's the location. Oh, there's not as many recruits around. Oh, it's this, it's that. That's gone. That's all gone. Now this is the bar, and this is where the bar has been for me all the time. Exactly. This is, the people who said before, coming into the game today that people thought that Michigan might lose. Well, they're like, 10 wins is good. Jim Harbaugh's back. He's got Michigan back to where they belong. 10 wins is what we needed out of him. Can't go back to what it was with Rich Rod. Glad they got that 10 wins. There's no talk about that anymore. You can't. And you and I have never been okay with the 10-win idea. Like, oh, yeah, they lost to Michigan State, can't get past Ohio State, but 10 wins is really good. And Jim Harbaugh wins 68 or 69 or 70% of his games. That's over. And I'm ecstatic about that. That's over, and now people can't talk like that anymore. And I'm glad about that, because this is what it's always been about. This is the level, this is the area of success that Jim Harbaugh was brought to Michigan to achieve. And he checked a big ass box today. He's got a little bit more to do, and I'm confident that they're going to do it. If they can do what they just did to this, if they can do what they just did to this Ohio State team, they can beat Iowa and Wisconsin the same way.
If they can do what they just did to the Ohio State Buckeyes out there, they can win the college football playoffs. I mean, with that was the number 2 team in the country, and they manhandled them, they bullied them, and so I don't want to get crazy here, but that type of performance can win you a national title. And Michigan is at the doorstep of that. And the fact that we're even having that conversation in a realistic fashion just shows. You look at what happened in 2020 and where this team is as of today, and you can't help but give a whole hell of a lot. Look, the leadership, Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Ross, Cade McNamara, give all those guys credit. But Jim Harbaugh made a lot of changes during the offseason to get this coaching staff where it needed to be, to change the culture. And it looks like a lot of the moves he made paid off in a very, very big way today.
They did. I mean, there's no, it looked like it. It did. The defensive effort to go out there. I mean, I thought the numbers were a little better than that. I didn't realize CJ Stroud threw for almost 400 yards, but and a couple touchdowns, and Travion Henderson found the end zone, but it didn't matter. Michigan stood up, bowed up, made plays, did what they needed to do. The offense was, it was so efficient, man. The offense was so efficient to not kick any field goals and to only punt twice and to hang 42 on Ohio State. That's really all you need to say, man.
So for the people asking, look, the tattoo, the Mr. Brightside lyrics, we're still one game away from that. Okay, so they still got to win the Big Ten championship. But yes, if they win the Big Ten championship, I'm committed. I will get lyrics to Mr. Brightside tattooed on my body. I'll stream it live. I'll stream it live for the fans.
For people who don't know, I think we've talked about it before, but we have a lot of people in here right now. Chris has a lot of tattoos. This isn't going to be like his first tattoo is Mr. Brightside lyrics, but
yeah,
still, it's kind of a big deal because you love that song, right?
I don't like the song. I really don't like it, but I like everything that's happening this year. And God, if that song plays any part in it whatsoever,
it's time to go, Chris. It's time to hit the streets. It's time to see what's out there.
let's go get lit. Let's go get lit.
Making plans for Indy. It's time to start looking around at what it might cost to get to Miami or Dallas. It's time to go have a freaking beer, man. Let's get out of here. Everybody,
great.
Thanks for listening.
Appreciate you guys.
On Monday night. See ya.